Hey guys, my name is Mike Fitz, and I'd like to talk to you about relationships today. I've been going to Good Shepherd since 1979, and we've had a lot of teaching come our way, and it's really been a privilege to attend here. But what I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit is about relationships and unity. And we have been called through the two great commandments to love God with all our heart, with all our mind, and with all our soul. But we've also been called to love each other. And the second part is the one that's so interesting, as yourself. We always have a tendency to think first of ourselves. That's just how we are, and that's fine. But when we do this, when we become intentional on everything, God really honors our attempts to be Christ-like. One of the things that I really witnessed here throughout time was something that was in John 13:35. And I need my glasses here. Your love to one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. And so here I am. I want to tell you a little story here. I was part of a short-term team mission. I've done a couple of short-term teams. I was knocking on doors with Dave Knoll back in the early 2000s. I was a speaker and sports communicator in Kandern, Germany, with an English camp. We had a chance to hook up with Josh Patty and Terry Jackson through Josiah Venture and partner with our missionaries overseas. And one of the things that we really worked on was just loving one another. We would just love one another. We'd look out for one another. We kept on training through the 4 to 6 months prior to deployment that we were going to, it's going to be about everybody else, and we're there to support them, that we're going to look after our teammates, and it's not going to be about ourselves. Because one of the things that you go through when you're all together is we have a different culture, we have different food, we have different interests, we have a different time zone. But the one thing that we did have in common is we had each other, and we were to love each other. And so it was really interesting. About the fourth day in there, I'm walking through the camp, and I see these group of girls, and they're talking to each other. And this one little girl with all this earnestness, she looks up and she goes, "Oh man, I can hardly wait to go to America because I know that everybody will love me." And that just so struck me here as I reflected later that night, because our love was demonstrating that we were part of Christ and who Christ was. And so that's such a key. And the thing is like we have to be intentional about this. We have a whole bunch of different things that we're called to do. In Ephesians 4:3, it says, "Make every effort to keep yourselves united in spirit." In Colossians, it says, "Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive each other." A couple of things that you see there is they're asking you to be intentional. And when you're intentional, God honors this because these are things that He's asking us to do, and it will happen when you do what the Bible calls us to do. I sort of have to not confess, but share a story with you that it happened in practicality in my own life. And I remember how it was. I was sitting at my desk and the door was open. It's during a down period, so I'm obviously out of season because otherwise I'm just busy. I was a baseball coach. And a teacher walked by. And I remember this teacher walking by, and I just looked at her and I just said to myself, the kids love her. Other teachers really enjoy her. Why do I bristle at her? Because we're all looking out for ourselves at times, so that's why that first commandment, love each other as yourself. We always have a tendency to look after each other. And so I just bristled at this one teacher, and I remember thinking, it's not her, it's me. And it was a female teacher that was down the hall. And I said, I'm going to choose to like this person. And so what I did later that day is I got out of my chair and I had to go make some copies, and I remember walking down the hall, and I'd done this with all these teachers through the years. I just walk into somebody's room and I say hi and stuff like that and I leave. Well, I walked into this one teacher's room and I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I just didn't even wait for a response, and I walked out and I kept on going. But what was so interesting, there was actually a visible reaction that she was startled that I had come in and said something to her. And I remember then that I made a point of stopping in. The "Hey, how are you doing?" in and out came to be, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on today?" To, "Hey, can you, what do you have going on tap? What are some things that you're working on?" To, "Hey, I really enjoy what you're doing. Show me what you're doing." And all of a sudden I found out that God was honoring this little biblical command to make every effort He was making it true that it comes to life, that all of a sudden, an effort that I made because I said, it's not about this person, it's about me, that all of a sudden I truly enjoyed that person. And I remember a little bit later on seeing another verse that really struck me, and it was in Romans 12:8. It said, and these are the NLT versions, which I love. I have three Bibles by my side. I have an NIV that I study with, and I have an NLT because it has this verbiage that I really like. But in the NLT version, Romans 12:8, it says, don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. And again, it's that pointed comment that says, choose this day, choose to care for each other. And so as we go further into the Christmas season and things like that, I would just say, make choices to love each other. Look past everybody else's faults, because we all have them. Blind spots are blind in others because you can't see them. But we can choose to love each other. And when we do that, all of a sudden these other things that people do aren't such a big deal. And as we finish up a little bit, I would encourage you guys, one of the greatest things that you're ever going to do for somebody else is drop them a note. Get out some postcards and just write a note and say how you just enjoy this person. And in fact, what you'll find out is by encouraging someone else, the connection that you have with that person deepens and you truly enjoy them more. And there's actually also a physiological reaction where you all of a sudden, because of the gratitude you have for other people, feel better about both you and themselves. So those are some things I was thinking about in terms of relationships. So thanks.